안녕하십니까. Welcome back everyone to Hwagesa International Zen Center for our Sunday afternoon Dharma talk. We're going to continue with Bodhidharma's teachings. I apologize for not being here last Sunday, but I was in Europe looking for a place to make a new Zen center, a new Sunwon in Western Europe. So I'm looking at many places, and so was there for about a week and came back. So I appreciate your patience and returning today to our Dharma talk. So it's very interesting, you know, Zen teaching is really clear and it's very simple. And it actually, I heard this from my teacher many times. Sungsan Sunim used to say many times, you would hear people say to him, Kun Sunim, you always teach the same thing. You always give the same teaching. You always teach the same thing. Why do you always teach the same thing over and over again? He said, yeah, I say the same thing, but nobody really hears it and follows it. So that's a really important point. If you look at this, the teaching of Bodhidharma, or any Dharma talk that happens at any one of these places, listen to any great teacher, any great Kun Sunim or Zen master, or even a priest or a minister. We used to say the same thing about our priest in the church. When we were going, oh, he gives the same sermons all the time. He's always talking about going to hell. And that's really true when you sit in this situation. And especially if you look at someone like Bodhidharma, he's saying the same thing over and over and over again. Over and over again. It's only talking about one thing. It's only talking about one thing, mind. There's only mind. There's nothing else but mind. There's nothing. We think that there's something, but it's not there. We think that this is here, but that's an illusion. This is the hardest part about Dharma. The hardest part about Dharma is not the Dharma teachings. It's not Buddhism. That's not hard. Buddhism is not hard. It's not difficult. The hardest thing about Buddhism is our conceptual ignorance, our perceptual ignorance. Our perception is usually ignorant, 99% of the time. It's ignorant. So, we suffer. So these teachings point so simply over and over and over again to only one thing. So there's only a certain amount of times that this pointing can be done, and then it becomes a repetition. Sorry. There's no way to do it any differently. It's always the same thing. So, we'll look at Bodhidharma. But keep that in mind. There's nothing in here that's news. There's nothing new from line to line. There's really nothing new. There's no special news from line to line. Every page we turn, it's not a different thing. It's the same point. It's just pointing here. It's like a mirror. A mirror never does any new special tricks. You ever notice mirrors? A mirror doesn't do special tricks. You can buy them with lights around them, maybe colors, but they only do the same thing. Mirrors only do one thing. They reflect. They just reflect. It's a very boring function because it's always the same. In any mirror, in any country, it's just reflecting. Just reflecting. Very boring. Same teaching. Nothing new. So, same with this Bodhidharma. So what I really like about Bodhidharma is, as we saw in the first thing, he says, you don't need to look at this, but This mind is Buddha. It says the same thing. Beyond this mind, you'll never find another Buddha. There isn't another Buddha. Outside this mind, there's no Kwanseum Bosal. Outside this mind, there's no God or Jesus or Buddha. Outside this mind, there's no other truth. Outside this mind, there's no salvation. Outside this mind, there's nothing. There's nothing outside this mind. And calling it mind is also a big mistake. But here's the good news. Look at it. Look at your mind. Look. What heard that? Something heard that. Something heard that sound. Something hears my voice right now. Something does. But we pay attention to the voice. We pay attention to the sound. If we see something, we pay attention to the object. But what saw that? The essence that saw that. What in Tibetan Buddhism, is just called clear awareness. Yeah, we call it true self, true nature, Bonsong Pum, Chamna, Jin-A. It has many names. The Tibetan name is very interesting. It's just clear awareness. That's this thing, our consciousness, our soul. Their name for it is clear awareness. That's very powerful because it's not the object that we're interested in. I'm not interested in what I see. I don't care about what I hear. I don't give any meaning to what I smell because that's gone. That's not me. But what saw that? What heard that? What smelled that? What? That what? That's interesting. That's very interesting because that's infinite. It has no time and no space. So if we look at that, we're a real human being. But if we're just chasing the objects of our sense, we're a sentient being, a jungseng. So that's what I really like about Bodhidharma. He's very clear. Beyond this mind, you'll never find another Buddha. To search for enlightenment or nirvana beyond this mind is impossible. To search for nirvana or enlightenment outside this mind, salvation, if you like the word, to find salvation somewhere else, outside this mind, you're a fool. Because you'll never find it. It's never been found before. But Jesus found it in his own mind. Yeah? He said the kingdom of heaven is here. It's here. It's not over there. It's here. Buddha found it in his mind. Bodhidharma found it in his mind. Wanhyo-Desa found it in his mind. Many people find it in their minds. We also have it in our minds. So that's all that Bodhidharma is talking about. It's right here. It's right now. Not after 10 kölches. Not after finishing Bulgo Dahak. Right here. We can see it. We can smell it. We can taste with it. That's all. So that's what I really like about this teaching. It's very, very, very direct. One more point that's very amazing. So I was just in Europe. And many people in the East are very, very surprised how much interest there is in Europe in Buddhism. There's an extraordinary amount of interest in Buddhism in Europe. Unbelievable. Even more than America. Huge amount of interest. You go in Europe in places like Amsterdam or Frankfurt or places like Berlin, especially Netherlands, a country like Netherlands or France. Even in the city streets, you see Buddha statues, Buddha paintings, Bulsang. All over the place. Even I'm shocked. In restaurants, in coffee shops. Don't believe me? Go there and check. Many, many paintings of Buddhas, Buddha heads. Yeah, so in some way, maybe a fashion. Maybe some fashion. But it's very universal. So why is this? So many people in Korea say, why so much interest in Buddhism? Because that kind of society already has everything outside. Material, also some big religions. But they saw through history, that cannot save me. Cannot save me. Some God, some materialism, some comfort, some social wealth cannot save me as much as I can save myself. I make an effort. I look at my life. I can save myself. In Buddhism, we call that enlightenment. So Bodhidharma is very clear. Buddhas don't save Buddhas. If you use your mind to look for a Buddha, you won't see the Buddha. As long as you look for a Buddha somewhere else, and you can exchange that word Buddha for God, if you like. As long as you look for a God somewhere else, outside. Change the words. If you're not a Buddhist, doesn't matter. Even if you're not a Buddhist, you can still see Bodhidharma's meaning because he's not talking about the words. Bodhidharma doesn't care about even his own words. He's pointing to this. He used the Buddha word, the God word, doesn't matter. It's the same pointing. So if I point to me like this, and if Sunim points to me like this, it's two fingers, but it's pointing to the same point. So, maybe you're not Buddhist. Even if you're not Buddhas, even if you're not Buddhist, you can still understand what Bodhidharma is pointing to. So amazing about the Buddhist tradition, because the Buddhist tradition doesn't care about words. It doesn't even care about its own words. Use the words to point only. That's all the words are interesting. This is not interesting. Actually, Bodhidharma is not interesting. The Diamond Sutra is not interesting. The Avatamsaka Sutra is not interesting. All of Buddhism is not interesting. It's not interesting at all. The Palman Daejang are not interesting. What they point to, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So, as you look at this, just as we did with the Diamond Sutra, when you look at this, don't look so much at the words. Look at what they're pointing to. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You'll come away just as empty-handed. But if you look at what they're pointing to, something can change in your life. Then you won't depend on something outside you anymore. Some belief, some person, some tradition, some theology, some conviction that someone wants you to buy, some conviction. Look here. That's all. That's all. Nobody else's approval, nobody else's opinion, nobody else's value system can help as much as this. That's all he's saying. So, don't use a Buddha to worship a Buddha, and don't use the mind to invoke a Buddha. Buddhas don't recite sutras. Buddhas don't keep precepts, and Buddhas don't break precepts. Buddhas don't keep or break anything. Buddhas don't do good or evil. 얼마나 시원해요. That's like saying space made the problem in Israel. Space never made the problem in Israel. Space can't make a problem in Israel. The problem in Israel is happening in space. In space. But space did not make that problem. Same with your consciousness. Buddhas don't. Your consciousness, call it Buddha, call it consciousness, does not make suffering. Your pure true self does not make enlightenment. Only your thinking does. So, look inside. To find a Buddha, you have to see your nature. That's all. To find a Buddha, to find God, you just have to see your nature. That's all. Whoever sees his nature is a Buddha. Whoever sees his or her nature is Buddha. If you don't see your nature, then invoking Buddhas, reciting sutras, making offerings, and keeping precepts are all useless. Invoking Buddhas results in good karma. Invoking Buddhas. Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. That's invoking Buddhas. Namo Amitabha. Invoking Buddhas results in good karma. Reciting sutras results in a good memory. Other good things happen too, but keeping precepts results in a good rebirth. Very good rebirth. So I think all of you kept the precepts very well in your past life, because almost all of you were born in the Republic of Korea with its great traditions and delicious food. So you did very strong practice, kept many good precepts. So you were born in this great situation. You see, it's true. Keeping precepts results in a good rebirth. I didn't keep precepts so well, so I was born in America, a little bit lower. Now I will try harder, keep the precepts. Maybe I will be reborn in Korea. But still we have suffering. You were reborn in Korea, you were born in America, you were reborn a rich person, you're reborn a poor person. Whether you're reborn in a place where there is war or isn't war, still you have suffering going on here. So, and making offerings results in future blessings. But I love this. But no Buddha. All of this you get, but it's like a game show. No Buddha. You're right. You won. Almost. No Buddha. If you don't understand by yourself, you'll have to find a teacher to get to the bottom of life and death. But unless the teacher sees his own nature, such a person isn't a teacher. Even if he can recite from memory the Palmandaejangyong, he can't escape the wheel of birth and death. He suffers in the three realms without the hope of release. So, to find a Buddha, all you have to do is see your nature. Your nature is the Buddha. And the Buddha is the person who's free of plans, free of cares. And if you don't see your nature and run around all day looking somewhere else, you'll never find a Buddha. The truth is, there's nothing to find. The truth is, there's nothing to find. There's nothing to find. But to reach such an understanding, you need a teacher. And you need to struggle to make yourself understand. Life and death are important. Don't suffer them in vain. Don't experience these difficult things in vain. There should be a point to it. There's no advantage in fooling yourself. Even if you have mountains of jewels and as many servants as there are grains of sand along the Ganges, you see them when your eyes are open only. No matter how many good things you have, you only see them when your eyes are open. But what about when your eyes are shut? Right now, when my eyes are open, I have many good friends here. Many good friends. All of you. Many good friends. But when I close my eyes, it has no use to me. What is this to me now? But what about when your eyes are shut? So, when you're alive, you have many good objects, many good opportunities. But when you die, what is that then? What is that then? When you die? You should realize then that everything you see is like a dream or illusion. If you don't find a teacher soon, you'll live this life in vain. It's true. You do have Buddha nature. It's true. You do have Buddha nature. But without the help of a teacher, you'll never know it. Only one person in a million becomes enlightened without a teacher's help. If, though, by the conjunction of conditions, someone understands what the Buddha meant, that person doesn't need a teacher. Such a person has a natural awareness superior to anything taught. But unless you're so blessed, study hard. And by means of instruction, you'll understand. So all of this points to the fact we have something. We have something. We have the only thing you need. The only thing you need in this world, you already have. The only wealth, the only knowledge, the only wisdom, the only power that you need, you have it. You have it already. You don't get it from somebody. You have it. But just understanding that doesn't help. Bodhidharma's point, any great teacher's point, is you have to look inside and find it. Then you see it's there. Then it's yours. So the very famous story that the Buddha told once, it's like a man whose friends took some money, and because he was going on a journey, they thought he would lose the money. They sewed the money. They sewed the money into his inner pocket. Yeah, there's a pocket inside here. And they put the money in and they sewed it up. So he didn't, in his normal pocket, he didn't have anything. But it's a lot of money there. Then he goes and he uses a little money. Then after a few days, no money. So he thinks no money. He thinks, no money. I have no money. I have no money. How can I eat? I will die. But meanwhile, that time, he has money. His friend put money there. But if you think you don't have it, it's the same as not having it. If you think you don't have it, if you think you lack it, if you think you're lacking, you're lacking. That makes lacking. But already you are a millionaire. So Buddhist practice just means go inside and get it, that's all. It's not a difficult practice. So, does anyone have any questions? Great. Starting at page 7. Whoever sees his nature is a Buddha. Whoever sees their nature is a Buddha. Whoever doesn't see their nature is a sentient being. That's all. Sentient beings and Buddhas are not different. Sentient beings and Buddhas are not different things. Sentient beings think that their thinking is real and follow it. That's all. Sentient being. Yeah, thinking appears for all of us. We all have thinking. Even great Zen masters, even great Kunstins have thinking. But a sentient being sees their anger thinking, their worry thinking, their fear thinking, their doubt thinking, their anger thinking, their shame thinking. Their thinking appears and they follow it. They follow their thinking and make suffering. Oh, then they cry. Then they're upset. Then they want to hit somebody. Then they want to take something. When their thinking appears, they think their thinking is real. So they lose themselves and they follow their thinking. That's a sentient being. Only. Buddha is the same. Buddha also has thinking, but not attached. Never leaves their mind. Never leaves their mind. And Buddha has thinking. Look at the Diamond Sutra. Buddha wants to eat. Buddha knows after eating, wash the bowl, put the bowl up, take off kasa, put the kasa here. Before sitting down, wash the feet. Very light thing, but not attached to the thinking. So, a sentient being follows their thinking. A Buddha never follows their thinking. Never attaches to their thinking. Is never bound. That's the only difference between a sentient being and a Buddha. It's not how much you practiced. It's not how long you were a monk. It does not mean how much you've done chanting or bowing or you understand sutras or what Kunstnim is your teacher or anything. It's not that. How much When thinking appears, you don't follow it. And you completely just follow your nature. That's all. So he's very clear about that. Whoever sees his nature is a Buddha. Whoever doesn't see their nature is a sentient being. But apart from our mortal nature, if you can find a Buddha nature somewhere else, where is it? Apart from this mind, if there's Buddha nature somewhere else, where is it? Our mortal nature, our Jungsang mind is our Buddha nature. It's the same substance. It's the same substance. Beyond our nature, there is no Buddha. The Buddha is our nature. Buddha just means self-nature. That's what Buddha means. It means self-nature. That's all. Not some separate being, not some God, not some leader. It's just a figure. It's just a word. It's just a stupid concept, a term pointing to this. That's all. Have I repeated myself yet? No? Good. Many times. The Buddha is our nature. There's no Buddha besides this nature. And there's no nature, there's no some other nature besides the Buddha. Yeah, some people think there's Buddhist nature and Christian nature and Islam nature and Hebrew nature. Someone told me recently, American people cannot understand Korean soul. Nowadays, kind of true, but point is not that. Soul is the same. That nature is the same. Everybody's nature is the same. When thinking arises, your mind and my mind are separate. If you cut off all thinking, which means not attached to thinking, then your nature and my nature are the same. It's the same. It's the same. And so, after all of these words, nature same, Buddha nature same, nature same. How do we know nature same? We have Buddhist, Christians, some people doubt, some people believe. How do we know it's the same? Buddhism is great because Buddhism is scientific. Buddhism is a scientific religion. Scientific. You can prove it. It's not a blind belief. It's scientific. You can prove it. How do I prove that your nature and my nature is the same? That's a very strong statement nowadays. So it's all true nature. Same as Bodhidharma. It's true nature, true nature, true nature, true nature, true nature. True nature, 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 true nature. Not anything outside of that. Not some specific practice or good action. Don't do good actions. How boring. Alone. But see your nature. Then good actions or bad actions can help other people. So, supposing I don't see my nature, can't I still attain enlightenment by invoking Buddhas, reciting sutras, making offerings, observing precepts, practicing devotions, or doing good works? Please? Bodhidharma? Is it possible? No. You cannot. And why not? If you attain anything at all, if you get something at all, some good result, that's conditional. It's karmic. It still results in retribution. It turns the wheel. And as long as you're subject to birth and death, you'll never attain enlightenment. To attain enlightenment, you must see your nature. Unless you see your nature, all this talk about cause and effect is nonsense. Buddhas don't practice nonsense. A Buddha is free of karma, free of cause and effect. To say he attains anything at all is to slander a Buddha. What could he possibly attain? Even focusing on a mind, a power, an understanding, or a view is impossible for a Buddha. And Buddha isn't one-sided. The nature of his mind is basically and fundamentally empty. The nature of a Buddha, the nature of your own mind, by the way, is fundamentally empty. Neither pure nor impure. Nowadays, I like many people come and they say, "Oh, Sunim, I just met a good Doban. I just met a good Doban." "Oh, yeah, what you like?" "Oh, this Doban is very nice, very chakada. Mind is very pure." Then I often say, "Good, you met a 50% Doban." A Buddha's mind is never pure nor impure. Not pure or impure. So, a Buddha isn't one-sided. The nature of his mind is fundamentally empty, neither pure nor impure, neither good nor bad, neither holy or unholy. He's free of practice and realization. He's free of cause and effect. So I love this section. Please pay attention. This is very important. This is very strong, very straight teaching right now. This is Bodhidharma's very essential points right here. A Buddha doesn't observe precepts. A Buddha doesn't do good or evil. A Buddha isn't energetic or lazy. A Buddha is someone who does nothing, someone who can't even focus his mind on a Buddha. A Buddha isn't a Buddha either. Right here. Don't think about Buddhas. Don't think about Buddhas. If you don't see what I'm talking about, you'll never know your own mind. So, like this friend who said, "Oh, I met a good Doban, very chakada, their mind is very pure." We think a Buddha, we think our nature is something that expresses itself a certain way. Yeah? If you see your nature, it expresses yourself as momo chakada, or momo this, momo that. You do some action that has some reaction. You do something that makes people happy, only happy. My teacher, Zen Master Sung San, used to say, a real bodhisattva, a real Buddha, is only 60% popular. And 40% people don't like him. If you're 100% everybody likes you, he says, that's some problem. A Buddha doesn't observe precepts, and a Buddha doesn't do good or evil. A Buddha isn't energetic or lazy. A Buddha is someone who does nothing, someone who can't even focus his mind on a Buddha. A Buddha isn't a Buddha. A Buddha isn't a Buddha. Oh, that sounds so difficult. Why is Buddhism so difficult? A Buddha isn't a Buddha. Why so difficult? Oh, every day my difficult job. I must do difficult work, complicated calculations. Oh, using my head so much, tired. Then I come to temple and this difficult speech. A Buddha isn't a Buddha? Why so difficult? Buddhism is too high class. That's what some people think. 90% of the people think. Many times, having a ride in taxi cabs in Korea, you talk with the taxi drivers. Taxi drivers are, if you want to understand the mind of the people, take a taxi, especially in Korea. If you want to understand the mind of the people about politics, take a taxi. If you want to understand the mind of the people about some cultural issue, take a taxi. If you want to understand the mind of the people about anything, take a taxi and talk with them. Then you immediately understand the mind of the people. So many times people say, when you get into the taxi, they start driving, then they see in the mirror, I'm in the back seat, then they see in the mirror, that you can see, they're looking in the mirror and they can see this. They see this. When you get in, they see like Nubi Durmagi, then you get in, then they see this head, and then they see in the hole. They see this big nose and blue eyes, and they say, oh, are you Snim? Or do you practice Buddhism? Do you study Buddhism? Yes. I'm going to Hwagesa now. I'm going to temple. 대단합니다. That's amazing, they say. Oh, no, sir. No, not amazing. Your job, I think their job is amazing. Every day, this many people want to fight and competition and home and 여보세요. 조금 이따가 가겠습니다. 야, 알았어요. Many times this talk. Actually, taxi drivers in Korea are very great because you can learn anything about how people think about Buddhism or any subject. So one very important thing is they'll often say, no, 대단해요. You study Buddhism. Buddhism is so difficult. You must be so smart, they say. No. But look at this line. Bodhidharma says, a Buddha isn't a Buddha. Seems difficult, yeah? Seems so philosophical, so deep, so abstract. A Buddha isn't a Buddha. In fact, many people say, Buddhism doesn't even sound like a religion. It sounds more like a philosophy. All of that's not true. Very easy to prove this. Bodhidharma's meaning. Very easy. Very easy to prove this. A Buddha isn't a Buddha. Very easy. Here's space. See the space? This is space, yeah? My hand is going back and forth through it. You can feel it. You can even feel it. Space. Or you can feel the air inside of space, but not really space. But if you go like this, everybody go like this right now. Everybody go like this. Can you just go like this? That's space, yeah? Space. But space is not space. You say, space. Space. Yeah, space, 이리 와봐. 좀 이리 와봐. Space. Space. We say space. Oh, wonderful space. Beautiful space. This is. Oh. Big space, small space. It's space. Even in here, space. This space in my hand, this space, it's the same space. Same. In my mouth, that's also space. But that space, 좀 말해봐. 야, space, 이마. 말해봐. Space. We say space, but that space is not space. Our idea, space. Just this. Space. So, a Buddha isn't a Buddha. It's not a thing. It's not an idea. It's not anything. That's all. If you get that, then you can let go of your attachment to Buddha, to Buddhist teaching, to whether it's correct or not, whether I'm giving this Dharma talk correctly or not, based on some other Dharma talk you heard, or something you heard about Bodhidharma, or something you heard about me, or something you heard about Buddhism, then you can let go. Because Buddhism is not Buddhism. Dharma is not Dharma. It's not something.
A Buddha isn't a Buddha. Let it go. Let it go. But Bodhidharma is very interesting. It's based on insight. Really based on insight that makes doing nothing really doing nothing. People who don't see their nature and imagine they can practice doing nothing all the time are liars and fools. They fall into endless space. They're like drunks. They can't tell good from evil. If you intend to practice doing nothing, you have to see your nature before you can put an end to rational thought. If you want to do nothing, see your nature. See your nature. To attain enlightenment without seeing your nature is impossible. To attain enlightenment without seeing your nature is impossible. You can't get enlightenment some other way. Okay, here's my translation part for other religion people. To go to heaven without seeing your nature is impossible. It's impossible. To go to the kingdom of heaven without this one within, it's impossible. I'm sorry, but it only happens here. Still others commit all sorts of evil deeds, claiming karma doesn't exist. They erroneously maintain that since everything is empty, committing evil isn't wrong. Such persons fall into a hell of endless darkness with no hope of release. Those who are wise hold no such conception. So there are some people, you do a little bit of practice, maybe even strong practice, and they see everything is empty. You can see that. Oh, everything is empty. My thinking is empty. My past is empty. Where is it? It's empty. Yeah? When I came here and I hit that experience, where is that now? Where that gesture, where did that go? Where? We experienced it together 10 minutes ago. So everything it just returns to emptiness. Comes out of emptiness, returns to emptiness. But here's his point. If you attach to that, everything is empty, and say, karma is also empty. Yeah, karma is empty. That's true. But if you attach to that, karma is empty. So I kill you, no problem. Karma is empty. I steal something, no problem. It's empty. I beat you up, no problem. Why are you angry? Karma is empty. Your karma is empty? My karma is empty? No problem. Very interesting. He says, still others commit all sorts of evil deeds, claiming karma doesn't exist. They erroneously maintain that since everything is empty, committing evil isn't wrong. Such persons fall into a hell of endless darkness with no hope of release. Those who are wise hold no such conceptions. But if our every movement or state, whenever it occurs, is mind, why don't we see this mind when a person dies? When a person dies, why don't we see this mind? Bodhidharma says, mind is always present and clear. You just don't see it.